All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good week. We are back talking some fights. UFC Fight Night at the Apex this weekend. Apex, I mean, it's a small cage, usually some more action, which is good. I always like the live crowd environment, though. What I love to see, though, 13 fights. Fingers crossed we keep all 13 and we don't lose one, because 13 means usually pretty spread out ownership, which I think will be the case this week. An interesting main event. I think it is fadeable again, which has been the theme of a lot of cards recently. Mike Malott, I believe, was not on the winner last week at 87. So excited to dive into this one with Big Marley. What's up, Gabriel? What's up, Alan? What's up, YSN? Yeah, you are number one. Talk about number one, the draft going on right now as well. Some NBA playoffs, some NHL playoffs. You can just see right above it. Before I throw it to Big Marley, NBA, PGA going on, MLB, MMA, NASCAR, and NHL. So all this going on. You know what? I'm going to get the marketing out of the way right away. That's 6 sports going on, a lot of action, a lot of big prizes. If you do want to join us at the Nation, you can see this is our homepage, chipthenation.com. Bottom left, join the Nation is the way to get in. If you want to give us a try, you have not tried us out at all. You get all these sports, 6 sports going on, $19. You get 5 days of content. You get SaberSim, our partner optimizer over here, and you get access to the Discord. So I think the best deal around if you play multiple sports and have not tried us. If you're just play MMA, obviously it's a year-long sport. We do have single sport options, MMA. Less than $1 a day, you can get all of our content. Just $20 more. If you're playing 10 plus, 15 plus teams, very hard to do. Hand building, SaberSim makes it very easy to do so. $49 a month. And then if you're with us all year and you know you're playing MMA every week like we are, you can get it cheaper for the annual package. So we'd love to have you. So much going on right now in the sports world, which is a great time for us over here for DFS. Let's go to MMA. The Stone, as you can see, what you get in MMA, you get projections, ownership, core report, GPP, and cash for FanDuel and DraftKings, slate plan breaking down all the fights, fight rankings, Big Marley breaking down all the fights, tier rankings, upper tier, mid tier, lower tier, and also an education video, more education MMA. So you get all that, and then the Stone shows everything you need: significant strikes per minute, the reach, the height, what they weigh in at, the finishing odds, everything right there. It's been long enough to bring you in, Big Marley. How we doing this week? And thoughts on this card?
I'm good. And I think I'm not excited to watch this card, but I think it's a great DFS card because there's no real clear targets on real either side of the board. I think that the main event will be popular because it's the main event, but there's no clear spin ups that everyone's going to want to go to. And then I also don't think that there's any clear underdogs aside from the ones that have taken some action. But I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be spread out. We could see a solo shipper on this one, and hopefully it's one of us or somebody listening.
Absolutely. I agree. So my quick broad slate before we go fight by fight: 5 of the 13 fights expected to finish, which is not too many, but 2 stand out: -600, -600. Mid-tier fight, Spann, Buchecha, and then 8,700, 7,500. That is the only 2 5-stars Big Marley has as well. I totally agree right there. Also, in terms of favorites, 3 big favorites. We'll talk about them all in a row. -400, Michelle, -600, Filho, -600, Francis Marshall. Some of those have moved a little bit since I put these up on Monday. But yeah, 3 big favorites. Otherwise, pretty closely lined the rest of the way. So I say we get right into it. No time to waste. 13 fights. First fight of the night, going based on the Stone, bottom to top. Victor Venezuela -140, taking on Max Griffin +120. +120 for this fight to finish. Valenzuela, +235 inside the distance. Griffin +340. So this fight opened to pick 'em, -110 apiece. Valenzuela now the favorite. He's also making his UFC debut against the UFC vet Max Griffin, making his 19th walk to the UFC octagon, which is crazy to think at 40 years old. I will say he definitely looks younger than 40, but what's up, Sights? And I'm going to throw it to you on this one. Valenzuela, Griffin, how do you see it?
Yeah, not a fight that I love. I just think that it's going to be a kind of typical Max Griffin fight where it's going to be primarily a striking match. Both of these guys are actually strikers, so I don't see either one of them really looking to shoot for takedowns. If either, I would guess that it's Griffin just because he's the vet, going to be the smarter guy. Valenzuela is a striker, but he's going to be the one throwing more heat. He's going to be the one wanting it more, I think, but he's also fairly low volume too from what I saw, and I think he's going to be relying on a knockout for him to pay off an $8,600 price tag, especially if he's going to be on the optimal lineup. So I don't really have too much interest in him, but I do think he has more first round knockout equity, so I think he is in play if he's going to be low owned. And then Max Griffin, I really don't want to click on him, but he's just in play as another low owned play, and he is a veteran. He's been around. He's fought the who is who. Getting this rookie who is favored over him, I think you could make him a slight favorite here, and I wouldn't complain about that line. I just don't really like him for DFS. I think he could win this fight and score 55 points, and that's not going to put him on the optimal lineup on this card, I don't think. So most likely Valenzuela or pass for me, but I like the pass most.
I totally agree with everything you said. I think it's going to stay on the feet more than likely for 15 minutes. Now, both guys do have power to shut the other one off. This fight opened plus 110 to finish. Now plus 110. It went plus 110 to plus 125 to plus 120. But if it's minus 150 to go the distance, both guys have knockout ability. Plus 235, plus 350 isn't bad for individual inside the distance props. They're going to be low owned. They don't break the bank. So I think Valenzuela is more likely to get a knockout. If he does, I'll take a low owned shot, 8,600. Again, only 5 of the 13 fights are expected to finish. This could be a lower scoring card. If Griffin wins, and if someone wrestles, I think it's Griffin. Just say he wins and scores 76 points. It's not dead, in my opinion, at 7,600 this week, especially with a lot of big favorites, or at least the top 3 really big. That means the real lower tier is pretty weak, in my opinion. 76 could be enough. Do you sign up for it? I would. I would actually sign up to be overweight this week. By no means would I lock it, but for his price, he has some of the best money line value on the slate. So there's a lot of other fights and people I don't like that I'm going to keep both of these guys in the pool because they both have knockout upside and just hope that maybe it's a firefight. But on paper, expect to go to the distance, 2 primary strikers. Max Griffin, usually not a good DFS guy. I would do agree. It's probably like a 2-3 star, something like that. But there's other people I like worse that I'll be fading. I'll keep both in the pool. Gun to my head. This fight busts, though, and goes 15 minutes and stays on the feet. Another fight I don't love too much. Julia Polastri, minus 240. Talita Alencar, plus 205. Plus 195 for this fight to finish. Polastri, plus 250 inside the distance. Alencar, plus 675. I'm going to play Alencar for sure. At the end of the day, like, we need dogs. I talked about not liking the bottom 3. We're going to talk about Brennan, Durden, and Silva. No thanks. So then we get up to Alencar. I think she's going to need to wrestle. Plus 240 for her, plus 205 for 7,200. Not bad. For sure going to play some there. Polastri, when I looked on Monday, even on Tuesday, she was plus 300 inside the distance. Now she's plus 250, and she lands 6.4 significant strikes per minute against a wrestler in Alencar. So I might have to change and include Polastri in my pool as a contrarian Spann. What are your thoughts on this one, and what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not against it as a contrarian play. I just don't like this fight because it's going to be her most likely spending some time on her back where she's not scoring. I do think she's going to be able to get up. She'll be the better striker in this one. She's just a better fighter, overall. Alencar is going to need to wrestle and grapple the entire fight in order to have any sort of edge. I think Polastri could even land takedowns of her own if she really wanted to and have some success on top. She just doesn't want to be on the bottom, or she wants to be at range and striking here. But if she spends, let's say, the first round on her back, I think it's a wrap for her after that. I think it's too late at that point if she's not scoring any points in the first round at 9K. So I think it's just to be super contrarian. You're trying to get a solo shipper. I think it's okay. And she could score well if she's not taken down at all. She just dominates the fight. But I do think Alencar has some wrestling success. Just not enough. I think she gets like 2 or 3 takedowns and doesn't get a finish, of course. So give me Polastri to win 2, if not all 3 rounds on the scorecards, but probably score in the 80s is what I would guess.
Yeah, which we don't want that by any means. My initial thoughts was something like that, but plus 250 inside the distance is not bad for someone that I think very well could be like 14% owned on this card. People are definitely going to want Marshall, Filho, McVey for cheaper, Rodolfo for 100 more. Like, it's really clear that she's going to get skipped over with 6.4 significant strikes per minute. If she subs takedowns, there is a path. So I think I'm going to include her. I have a little more interest now seeing the line movements for her finishing prop than I did earlier in the week. I'm definitely going to play some Alencar, though. A wrestler at 7,200 when I hate dogs. If she wins, sign me up. I think more than likely probably optimal. Even 70, like I said, if I'm taking 76 at 7,600, I'm definitely taking 76 at 7,200. So Alencar, my preferred play, but I might play a little bit of Polastri. All right, next fight on the card. We're getting into the three biggest favorites. We're going boom, boom, boom. Francis Marshall taking on Lucas Brennan. Marshall minus 500. Brennan plus 375. Minus 140 for this fight to finish. Marshall minus 105 inside the distance. Brennan plus 625. So this fight was booked late. Let's see. The odds came out on this fight was booked Monday, I believe, and it opened minus 400. Francis was minus 700 just earlier today, and then money came back on the Brennan side. Now it's minus 500. So yeah, that was actually pretty recent line movement. Minus 400 got as low as minus 700. Now minus 500 in a fight minus 140 to finish. Both guys look to be, or Brennan's a primary submission guy, and Francis Marshall's pretty well rounded, but more of his wins come by submission as well. What do you think happens in this one?
I think Marshall probably just dictates where the fight takes place. And since Brennan is primarily a grappler, I think Marshall's going to want to keep it on the feet. And I see him winning a striking match and not scoring well. But my issue is that when both guys are grapplers, sometimes it can just be a 10-minute grappling match. And if that's Marshall winning it, I think he could score well. I don't think Brennan can win minutes too much in the grappling. I think it would be more him grabbing a neck and maybe submitting Marshall. I just wasn't too impressed with what I saw in Brennan. I also couldn't see as much as I wanted to. A bunch of his film was like, I was getting errors when I was trying to watch this fight. So I watched like a highlight reel. I watched his loss, which wasn't very great. But I need to find some more on this Brennan kid. Maybe I don't. I mean, the line kind of tells me everything. I think I want to avoid Brennan. And if Marshall's going to be popular, I'm probably going to avoid him too. This would be more of a 2-star for me. But if he was not going to be popular, then I think he would have been a good shift away from Filho or Montague, whoever it is that is going to be popular on this card. I don't know who that's going to be. I think it's going to be a tough card to have anyone that's going to be like 40% owned. Who do you think is going to be the highest owned favorite on this card?
The highest owned favorite on this card, I think, is going to be Jackson McVey.
Wow, that's scary. I mean,
Yusuf Zalal. Okay, I'll say Yusuf Zalal for the main event. Maybe the easy way out. But after, I think I'm going to go McVey because I think people aren't going to want to dumpster dive too much down below. And I think they're just going to see that minus 600 fight. Everyone loves fading Dumas. He's minus 160 inside the distance. He's plus 175 in round 1. It's easy for the salary wise. I think that's probably where it goes. So Zalal and McVey would be my thoughts there. As far as the top 3 highest priced, Marshall, Filho, Montague, I think because of this recent line movement, Filo's minus 650 right now, and Marshall's minus 500. So if that's the case, I think people are, and it stays that way, I think people are going to try and find the 100, and Filho will be more. But I think that'll be relatively close. I think Montague will be the one that's pretty clearly below them. Maybe like 35% Filho, 30 Marshall, 23 Michelle. I throw out random names, but something in that order is how I'm guessing. What are your thoughts on that, on all that?
I put them all like basically the exact same, so I have no idea yet. I'll adjust it all before we get to Saturday, and it'll be more clear if you're a Ship It Nation member. Go check it out.
Yep, absolutely. That will be, as you can see, or where you can find that MMA projections, ownership, and obviously our projections, and then it is automatically loaded into SaberSim if you have that membership as well. Also, we appreciate everyone hanging out. Like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton watching live or watching on playback. We appreciate you guys very much. MMA keeps growing. The sport is, there's no better sport. I mean, MMA is the stone cold nuts. Love to see it continue to grow. Viewership's really good. And yeah, I've gotten multiple messages about no one ever followed MMA, all this. They got in for DFS and they just fell in love with the sport. That always makes me very happy because, yeah, two people trying to kill each other. It's as alpha as it gets. That's a great way to spend your Saturday night. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card. I mentioned it, but biggest favorite, Jafel Filho minus 650 taking on Cody Durden plus 475, minus 325 for this fight to finish. Filho, the biggest inside the distance prop on the card at minus 270. Round one prop I am not seeing right now. So this was supposed to be Filho versus Lucas Hocha. Durden stepping in on short notice. I always love Cody Durden fights. Usually the pace is pretty high. Usually it results in a finish, but man, this is a nightmare matchup for him. As you can see, Durden, you don't find Durden's plus 780 to finish, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you don't find Durden as this big of a dog too often. I think it just shows. Durden has lost five of his 10 losses have been by sub. Filho is known to be a very good submission grappler. He's minus 270 to finish. He opened minus 225. This fight opened, or money line wise, Filho opened minus 400, similar to Marshall, now minus 650. So yeah, give me the Filho side. I think he gets a takedown and submits Durden either in the first or the second round. Are you going to play any Durden? And what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm not against it. If I play it, I actually played 150 last week. If I do 150 this week, then I would keep Durden in my pool. Because, I mean, I think he could win the striking, and he's a better wrestler in this fight. It's just that Filho is the better grappler, way more dangerous grappler, and I do think he is going to submit Durden at some point, probably in the first round. I just don't know if it's going to be enough points if it's going to be in the first round. If he gets a takedown, couple punches here and there, and he scores like 97, is that going to be enough? I don't know. Usually he does score well, though. I was looking at his scores, 110, 113, 105 in his wins. So I'd be fine with all of those at 9,500 on this card specifically. So I do like Filho more than Marshall. But to me, I think, again, it's just going to come down to the ownership. If there is a big gap in anybody, I'd rather go to the lower owned person, no matter who that is. But I do think Filho deserves to have higher ownership because I think he is going to have a pretty decent round one submission line.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what that round one prop is. My guess is like plus 110 or something similar. If Durden wins, I mean, he's got to score. Usually pushes the pace. Maybe it's some wrestling or he knocks him out, but the line doesn't think he wins. I don't think he wins. Because of that recent line movement on Brennan, I would rather play Brennan than I would Durden. I'd rather play Filho more than Marshall, assuming the ownership's pretty close. If there's a big gap, I totally agree with you on that. But I don't think we'll see too big of a gap with him in the highest price at 9,500. But yeah, Filho definitely has upside in this one. Minus 270 to finish is in a tier of its own, almost $1 better than the next best. Let's keep it rolling to the third biggest favorite, Michelle Montague, minus 400, taking Mayra Bueno Silva, plus 300, plus 155 for this fight to finish. Montague, plus 170 inside the distance. Bueno Silva, plus 900. Michelle, a primary grappler. You can argue, actually, both these girls, primary grapplers. Michelle's plus 300 to win by sub in her UFC debut. It was... she's finished 6 of her 7 wins by sub. The only non-finished win was her debut last fight against Luana Carolina, but she went 5 for 7 on takedowns, almost 11 minutes of control time for 102 DraftKings points. Bueno Silva doesn't have great takedown defense because she's always confident when she's offered back. I think that'd be a mistake in this one, but I do think Michelle gets takedowns. And yeah, I think any Filho lineup, you can go to Michelle, leave 200 and be different. Marshall to Michelle to be different. I do think she's the lowest owned of the three, and her ownership's in check as a primary wrestler and submission grappler. So, yeah, just hearing all that, sign me up. I assume you have similar thoughts, but I'm curious to hear your take on Mayra Bueno Silva. And then how would you rank Bueno Silva, Durden, and Brennan if you had to pick?
Yeah, same thoughts as you on this fight. Montague, I think, is going to be just a better wrestler. I think she has that 102-point not really ceiling, but I'd say realistic ceiling in every matchup that she's in, because she's going to want to get takedowns, keep the fight on the ground for 10 plus minutes if she can. This is a dangerous fight to do that, because Silva is a dangerous submission grappler. More so when she's in a dominant position, though. I think she can be taken down and kind of dominated on the ground. Silva is going to be the better striker here, too. She can throw heat, maybe finish this girl on the feet. So I'm not against Silva exposure. I'd say she's my favorite of those three. Silva, Durden, Brennan would be my third. But if I am 20 or less, I just might try to avoid all three of them, hope that they lose and stay more in that mid-range of underdogs.
I agree. If I'm playing a lot of lineups, maybe I play all of them. Durden would be my least favorite. Brennan, Bueno, Silva would be close because of the money line odds. I think I'd favor Bueno, Silva, but if I'm making 15 teams, to be honest, I'm probably just trying to avoid all three of them. I have enough ways to get different. I can fade the main event. I can jam more mid-tier. I can leave money. I don't love playing these big dogs as a way to get different today. This week. It's not my favorite approach there. Let's go to my favorite fight on the card to target for DFS. I kind of already tipped my hand, but Jackson McVey, minus 185, taking on Sedriques Dumas, plus 160. Minus 600 for this fight to finish. McVey, minus 160 inside the distance. Dumas, plus 220 inside the distance. McVey, round one, open plus 200, now plus 175. I'm loading up on both sides. If I'm not playing McVey, more than likely I'm playing Dumas. I actually think Dumas is probably one of the best game theory plays on the slate, since I do think McVey is very high owned. Dumas, cheaper. You get a lot of leverage. Best inside the distance prop in the lower tier. When he wins, a lot of McVey teams die, and I'd assume Dumas scores well. So, yeah, I like both sides. I very well might end up with more Dumas, but I feel like I say this pretty much every card when it comes to Dumas, because he's always almost an underdog. He's always in a fight expected to finish high. His opponent's always highly owned, and I feel like Dumas is always losing, except against Josh Friend. No, Friend beat Dumas. I don't even know which one Dumas won, but yeah, he's not very good. How do you see this fight?
Yeah, it's be my favorite DFS fight on the card. I think McVey, I think he'll look like the big favorite early in the fight. In the first couple of minutes, he is dangerous in the clinch. He could knock out Dumas, and then he is also dangerous with submissions when he gets the fight to the ground. But I don't think he's going to be a good wrestler, and I also think he's going to start to fall off the longer this fight goes. Dumas could maybe even finish McVey in the first round, but I think the longer it goes, the more it's going to shift over to Dumas. If he can weather that storm, he could finish McVey in any round. So I'm just going to be all over this fight. I prefer McVey. I'm picking him to win in the first round. But when you said you think he's going to be the highest owned favorite on the card, it made me think, well, shoot, maybe I need to get more Dumas then, because I just don't trust McVey enough if he's going to be 40+% owned. He's just not that good of a UFC fighter. So I think these guys are pretty similar buckets. Just more people hate Dumas.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good breakdown. And I think probably like 40% around is where I'd get it. Again, 8,700 on a card where people don't love dogs, which means you can't spend up too easily. The mid-tier is pretty strong. But yeah, I mean, minus 160 to finish for McVey. Everyone does like picking on Dumas. I think this is probably the best fight to target on the card, like I said. And I want a lot of both sides. I'm not making a rule that 100%, but if I did end up with 100% with 20 teams or less, I would most definitely roll with it. Let's go to a 4-star fight Big Marley has, and all stars are on one side, which I do agree. Rodolfo Vieira, minus 305, taking on Eric McConico, plus 255. Minus 140 for this fight to finish. Vieira, plus 105 inside the distance. McConico, plus 525. So you can see on Monday, Vieira was only minus 225 favorite, now minus 305. So he's taken some of the most money as we've seen all week. I think Vieira takes him down, dominates him on the mat, probably eventually gets a submission. But at 9,100, we got to compare him to McVey, who we just talked about. Also, Marshall, Filho, Montague. Are you fine dropping money from like a Filho and going Vieira? How do you rank them amongst them? And yeah, how much you think you have? And then any McConico for you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a lot of Vieira because I think he finishes McConico in the first round. It's just going to be levels to this game. When he gets the fight to the ground in the first round, especially when he's fresh and strong, I just think he's going to wrap it up pretty quick. I would imagine it's going to be like an arm triangle, something like that, where McConico fights it off for 10 seconds and then it's over. But give me Vieira to score right around 100 points, and I like that a good amount. But if Filho is going to score 110, to Vieira's 100, then I'm going to probably like Filho more, but it's all just going to be similar to me. I'm fine dropping from Filho to Vieira if that's going to make me that much different. I just also like that Vieira's $400 cheaper, and that can afford me lineups that I won't be able to get to with Filho also. So I think I will be quite overweight on Vieira, and McConico is going to be my first complete X off the board. If I make 150 lineups, I'm going to X out McConico.
He's your first one. All right. With that line movement, I was kind of thinking similar. He's gone. My appeal on him has gone down as the week goes. I actually didn't like him too much to start with. The problem is then I don't like Brennan 6,800. I don't like 6,700. I don't like 6,900. I don't like 7,100, which is true. And that's why I'm talking about Alencar. I'm going to have to fall on Max Griffin, even though I don't like the upside. If all of those people lose, 76 could be enough, kind of where we're getting there. And then we'll get to like a Ryan Spann, Barcelos, Davy Grant. Like I'm going to play some of these dogs up top. I mean, I'm forced to. We play a salary-based game, but that is kind of where my strategy is going. Favorites early, kind of hoping some dogs are barking as the card goes. Great fight to target right here. -600 to finish, tied for the best on the slate. Mid-tier fight. Marcus Buchecha -140. Ryan Spann +120. Individual inside the distance props, Buchecha -105 inside the distance, Ryan Spann +140. In terms of line movement on this card, is actually Spann opened as a -125 favorites, and now he finds himself as the dog. So the line flipped. But yeah, both guys, very good finishing props for their price. It's this fight and it's the McVey fight. And I like, again, I'm tipping my hand, but I like this fight in the mid-tier more than Zalal Sterling in a vacuum. Plug any Zalal team in, take Zalal out, go Buchecha, Spann, leave the money. That is something I'll be looking to get different this week. I'm going to have a bunch of this fight. What about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to load up on this fight, but I also have worries about it just being a complete stinker of a fight, especially if they make it out of round one. Both of these guys will tend to slow down. Buchecha's going to need to grapple the full fight. Spann has submissions in his game, but he is going to be at a disadvantage in the grappling in this fight. He's going to want to strike, and he could knock out Buchecha probably in any round, but who knows what he's going to look like late in this fight. I would not trust him in the third round. So I think if it's in the third round, both these guys are going to be gassed out, and it's going to be a crap score for either one of them. So I'm not going to make it a point to get it into my lineup, but it is my second favorite fight to target, with the main event being really close to it. My preferred play is Buchecha because I do think he is going to be the one getting takedowns, and he is going to have the grappling advantage, submission grappling advantage. But it's not big enough where I'm sure he's going to be my higher owned guy. If I need that $400, I have no problem going down to Spann. And I also think, your couple favorite Buchecha lineups move down to Spann as well and save that $400. That could make it go from 20 dupes to 2 dupes. So I think that it's just a good fight to target because it's right there in the mid-range. Both guys are 100-plus potential fighters, and there is a decent chance that they score 100-plus points too. I just worry about it getting out of round one and how these guys are going to look after that. It gives me Reyes, Johnny Walker vibes. I mean, not quite the same fight, but just the same kind of vibes.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets there, it's probably going to bust. It's going to be bad. Unless Buchecha's just been on top the whole time, and then maybe like the top control of the takedowns are enough, it'd be really hard for Ryan Spann. With that being said, though, under 1.5 favorite at -158. Now to go play devil's advocate on the flip side, it opened -200. So some money has come in on the over, but it's still favored to end inside 1.5 rounds, which is good for DFS. We need it. With only 5 or 13 fights expected to finish and 2 -600s, yeah, if you do think it's more likely than this, like Big Marley's saying, than the odds dictate, and you want to be under this fight and it busts, that could be your way to get different. fading this fight, fading the McVey fight, fading the main event. I think it's clear those are the three highest owned fights on both sides. If you only play one of the three, you're definitely getting different that way. Now, I do think there's paths where you can play two of them and get different enough. If you play three of them, maybe you should be looking at a Brennan, a Durden, a Silva, leaving 400 plus, maybe something like that. Maybe playing Sterling, Spann, and Dumas, like all three underdogs, is a way to get different. I would be a little cautious on my roster if I was playing those three fights. But yeah, I like this fight a lot. Buchecha's looking for takedowns. I think Spann can knock him out at any point. Most of Spann's like submissions are just grabbing the neck on the feet when he is shooting a takedown. But yeah, I think he's live there. I think because I can leave 400 as a way to get different, he's my slight preference, but not a strong lean by any means. I definitely like the fight. I personally like the fight more than the main event, and I will talk about why when we get there. Next fight on the card, Montel Jackson. That's Big Marley's boy, Montel Jackson. I always remember that. Taking on Raoni, Barcelos, minus 190 Jackson, plus 165 Barcelos, plus 120 for this fight to finish. Jackson plus 160 inside the distance, Barcelos plus 625. So a little money has came in on Jackson throughout the week. What I don't love to see, actually, no, it's not too bad. So Jackson opened plus 225 inside the distance. He was plus 150 when I looked on Monday. Now he's plus 160, but still decent amount of money has came in on him to finish. I'll let you talk about this one, but I know I'm forced to play Raoni. Like I talked about not liking too many dogs. I think he's going to try and wrestle. I think that's his best path. Hoping the longer the fight goes, the more he can take over with how much Montel has to cut weight, like you see on the stone. But Montel always live for, a first minute bonus when it's all said and done. The dude hits like a truck, as we saw against Blackshear. So yeah, I'm going to target this fight for sure. What about you?
I don't like it as much. I think that it's fine to target either side of. I like Jackson for his knockout potential, and I like Barcelos for his wrestling, grappling potential. Barcelos is a really good striker, too. He could beat Jackson on the feet. I don't think he knocks him out, but he could win just minutes. He could also land a couple takedowns throughout the 15 minutes. But I do think Barcelos would score around 10x or more if he is able to get the job done. So I'm cool with him. Jackson, I'd rather just take him for the ceiling, and I also don't think he's going to get too much ownership. But I see it being a pretty close fight where Jackson just wins 2 rounds striking and doesn't score enough points. That's how my prediction for the fight to go down. I just don't think Jackson is going to knock him out. It could be close to if it's on the feet for 15 minutes. But Jackson's my guy. I never picked against him. I don't think in a single UFC fight, so I'm not about to now. I just don't like it as much for DFS if he's not going to get that knockout. So I'm going to be looking to target other fights instead. I like Buchecha for 300 less. I like Zalal for 200 less. But if they're going to be low owned, that could make me like it a little bit more.
Yeah, I do think – I don't know about low owned, but I don't think it can be like too chalky. I think it's going to be like right there in the 20% range or something like that. People are definitely going to want McVey for 100 more than Montel. But I do think Raoni, I don't know actually, because people are going to see plus 120 money line versus like plus 160 for Barcelos. Maybe that leads people to Griffin. But if both win, I don't think it's not even close. I think Barcelos has more upside because I think he has a lot more wrestling upside, even though his inside the distance prop isn't good. But I'm going to play this fight. I'm almost forced to. Again, it's another one. I don't love the main event. It's in a similar price range. It's not breaking the bank since I don't love cheap dogs. So yeah, I'm going to hope Montel knocks him out. I'm going to hope Raoni wins the decision and he scores enough at 7,600. Next fight on the card, the closest price fight and actually not even the closest line fight anymore. Davey Grant, the cheaper fighter, finds himself as a minus 135 favorite taking on Adrian Luna. This fight is plus 110 to finish. Grant plus 235 inside the distance. Luna plus 315. Again, you can see on Monday, even there now, or even on Monday, Grant was the favorite at minus 120. He's continued to take money, minus 135 now at only 8K. Inside the distance prop is good for the price as well. Open plus 255, now plus 235. With all that being said, Grant a striker. I do think Luna, if he wins, he's a lot more likely to get a submission or get takedowns. And if I need to get different on this card, if Grant keeps getting money and people are just going to, we need dogs, we're going to play the favorite that's 8K, kind of like Castaneda last week, I'm probably going to be overweight on Luna then as a leverage play, forcing myself to get different because I am playing McVey, Buchecha lineups and that. So this one's tough. It's expected to go the distance, and Grant's the striker. So Grant can easily win like he's supposed to and still not be optimal at 8K. What do you think about this one? And the 40%, that would be an easy underweight thing for me. I think he's probably
Jackson McVey or Montel Jackson?
Montel Jackson he's talking about.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
I think mid-20s, 30 maybe. But, yeah, I mean, the inside the distance prop's good. The money line's fine, and it's right in the mid-tier. So I wouldn't be shocked. No thank you for me at 40%. Or at least underweight, obviously.
Same. This fight I think is going to be a fun fight. Probably one of the highest paced fights on the card. I think it's going to mainly play out on the feet for the most part, but either guy could land takedowns in this one. I think Grant might even be the better submission artist between the two. I think Luna's probably the better wrestler, but I think it's going to be a fun striking match where either one of them could score 90 plus points. I'm fine with either one of them. I picked Grant because he was the plus money side, but now he's the favorite and he's going to be much more owned because he's the favorite. So that might lean to Luna being my preferred play in this one because I really don't have a preference. And same with the rest of the card, man. Ownership could be what switches me from one side to another. And I'm fine being on the lower end of this one. Give me the younger guy, 10 years younger. Grant is looking like he's in the prime of his career at 40 years old, but how long can that really last? So I liked him because he had a plus next to his name. I don't like him that much with more ownership and the minus next to his name.
Yeah, and because, again, the upside, like Grant's a striker. He's 40 years old. I thought I picked him to win a decision, but again, when I looked, the line was closer as well. For DFS, I think the ownership gap more than likely is too wide. And if that's the case, give me the guy that's probably going to want to try and get it to the mat. Plus 400 by sub is Luna. I think that's pretty solid when talking DFS and upside. So I prefer him in DFS. What's up, Nicholas? Great to see you. Hope you are doing well. Next fight on the card. Now this one is the closest line fight now. Alexander Hernandez and Rafa Garcia. Minus 115, Hernandez. Minus 105, Garcia. Plus 150 for this fight to finish. Hernandez plus 275 inside the distance. Garcia plus 365. So you can see on Monday, it was minus 150, Hernandez plus 130, Garcia. At open, Hernandez went minus 150 all the way down to minus 170. And then slowly but surely, the money has came in on the Garcia side, and it has not stopped. I do think this leads to Garcia being one of the most popular underdogs on the slate. As you can see, solid volume. He can wrestle. Hernandez, mainly a striker. He's big. He has power. Garcia is my preferred play, but I do worry ownership could get up there a little bit. What do you think in this one?
Yeah, I like Garcia. He was one of my top underdog choices just because I think anytime Garcia is an underdog, you got to be interested because he is a high-paced fighter and he is the best part of his game is his wrestling. So he should be looking to mix in takedowns. I think he could win this fight on the feet, just throwing out more volume than Hernandez. Hernandez at $8,500, you really need a knockout, I think, from him. So I'll be underweight, if not fading Hernandez and hoping that the knockout doesn't come. If he wins a decision, I think he's not on the optimal lineup. But Garcia, I think he could win a decision and still score 90-plus points as the dog. So Garcia is going to be definitely an overweight play for me. Even if he is high owned, he's going to be one of my first underdog clicks in most of my hand-built lineups. But I just don't feel very confident about him winning. I think it could be pretty close minute to minute. I don't love his skills. I don't love his skills. They are solid, but I love his pace. And I like that he wants to get the fight to the ground. So give me a decent amount of Garcia at 7,700.
What would you set his takedown prop at?
Ooh, I'd say like 1.5 with juice or 2.5 at plus money.
Okay. How much Hernandez do you think you'll have? Like, I feel like Garcia's really durable. He's tough to finish. It feels like Hernandez almost needs a finish, but talk about low ownership. Like Montel is going to be more popular for sure. Buchecha is going to be more popular. McVey is going to be more popular. Zalal is going to be more popular. Like if we do get a Hernandez bank or Hernandez optimal performance, that's when you'll see a solo shipper and you'll get a lot of leverage off of Garcia. I guess I'm trying to talk myself into it. On paper, I don't love it, but he's plus 275 to finish. I don't know. What are your thoughts on how much Hernandez you'll have?
I'd say if I do a typical 20 or less lineups, I'm not going to have any Hernandez. If I do 150, I don't think I would limit it at all with 150. I would let SaberSim do its thing and hope that I'm around 10% or so. But if it gave me 20 at a 150% and I really liked everything else, I'd probably be okay with that.
I like it. All right. 2 fights left, co-main events. I mean, you can't really drop a worse co-main event in terms of entertainment, in my opinion, but we do get what we get. Norma Dumont minus 210, Jocelyn Edwards plus 180, plus 275 for this fight to finish. Dumont plus 425 inside the distance, Edwards plus 550. So Edwards has taken some money since Monday, as you can see. It was, so this is how the line went. Open minus 200, very shortly after got all the way down to minus 138. Then Dumont, it stood around there for a little while. Dumont got a good amount of buy late last week, got all the way as low as minus 240, like you can see right here on Monday. And Edwards has gotten some buyback. We need dogs. It looks like you prefer the dog in this one. I mean, Dumont's going to try and wrestle and be boring. Can Edwards stuff the takedowns, keep it at distance, or do you think Dumas isn't he on house arrest? The dude always feels like he is, but he always fights, so who knows? Can Dumont wrestle in this one? Is she going to push up the cage and make it greasy? Or is Edwards going to continue a phenomenal streak? 4 wins in a row, all by finish. She has definitely turned the page. So what do you think in this one?
Yeah, I think Edwards is one of the most improved fighters in the whole UFC in the last couple of years, and I think this is a pretty dang close fight. I've been thinking about betting Edwards in this fight because it should be a little bit closer to pick him in my eyes. But Dumont does have the wrestling to be able to dictate where the fight takes place. She can, she's active on the ground too. She can score well at 8,800 and not get too much ownership. She's also decent on the feet. So I think at low ownership, Dumont's an okay play. But Edwards can hang with her anywhere. I think even now her wrestling game is improved enough where she can stuff takedowns or even land one of her own if she wants to. But she is the more dangerous striker, and I think she's the more likely minute winner if this is a 15-minute striking match as well. So Edwards is my preferred play, maybe a potential bet as well. The line was moving in Dumont's favor when I was looking at this fight. I was hoping it was going to keep doing it. It didn't make any sense to me, so I thought I was missing something. But now I think it's coming the right way. I still think there's value, but the tighter it gets, the less interested I'll be in the betting part.
Yeah, I mean, the line, like I said, that line's been all over the place. You said you did have some interest in Dumont. Like, she's going to want to wrestle and get on top. Can Edwards get up and Dumont dump her again? If you had to pick Dumont or Polastri, who would you pick? I see them as pretty similar plays in this sense of very low owned. But I can draw up a path to both sides.
I'd say Dumont for me over Polastri, Dumont over Hernandez.
Yep, I agree with Dumont over
kind of that range. I like them just more than those ones.
And again, she has to be low owned as a pivot. I'm going to play some and chalk your lineups, but again, you have Vieira at 9,100. You have Montel Jackson 86, McVey 87. Yeah, it's mainly that. Like Palastri's not really going to get ownership right there, but it's a couple hundred lower and then a couple hundred higher. People are going to find ways to upgrade or just leave money to Dumont. Like zeroing out Dumont and not playing Montel or McVey is a way to get different. Not my favorite way to do it, but like leaving $0 instead of 200 to get down to Montel. The Montel side, I expect to have more dupes than the Dumont side. All right. Main event time. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out, watching live or watching on playback. Again, if you're not a member at Shippin' Nation, you guys know the drill. ShippinNation.com. Join the nation. If you want all of these sports, 6 of them, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, NASCAR, MMA, MLB, and PGA, 5 days for $19. You get SaberSim. You get access to the Discord. If you just play MMA and you want our content for the year, less than $1 a day, you can get it. And again, you get all of this projections, ownership, the stone, which is highlighted and filled out come Friday. Core reports, slate plan, tier rankings, fight rankings, everything you need. And again, access to the MMA Discord as well. Main event time, Yusuf Zalal minus 125, Aljamain Sterling plus 105, plus 135 for this fight to go the distance. Zalal plus 240 inside the distance. Aljo plus 375. So this fight open plus 125 to finish, now plus 135. The over took money. And you can see on Monday, it was Zalal. Well, I forgot to put minus next to it, but it was Zalal minus 160, Aljo plus 140. And now Zalal only minus 125. I do think this will lead to probably Aljamain Sterling being the chalkiest fighter on the slate, if not the chalkiest top 2, top 3. I'll let you break it down, and then I'll talk about the reason. Okay, of course, main events, you should almost always play at least one side or both sides. 25 minutes, it's a big thing. Mid-tier fight, you don't need as big of a score, but I'm going to talk about reasons I think you can fade and get away, but I'll let you just talk about your thoughts on it first.
Yeah, I think this is a close fight. It's a close fight, and it could go anywhere. It could be play out more on the feet and not be on the optimal lineup. And it could also be grappling heavy, and you need to fight whoever it's going to be. Aljo, I do like to be the better grappler. I think he is the one who would be the more likely fighter that you would have to have if he wins. Whereas Zalal, he is going to want to keep this fight on the feet. I think he's the better striker, not completely offensively, but he's just really good defensively. He's hard to hit. I think he will be winning the minutes when the fight is on the feet. And he is also a good wrestler, grappler himself. This is just a big step up in that kind of a fighting, in that kind of a matchup. So I think he's going to want to keep it on the feet. Aljo's going to be looking for takedowns. And if Zalal wins, it could be a wide range of a score where we don't need him. And that's what I'm picking to happen is Zalal winning and maybe scoring right around 10x or so. And hopefully that's not on the optimal lineup. I do want to click on him a lot because it's right there in the mid-range. And I'm also fine if I'm making limited lineups, duplicating some Zalal lineups and putting Sterling in as well, saving the $600. But the more the line tightens, I think the more Sterling is going to get owned. And that either makes me like Zalal a little bit more or the fade just a little bit more. I think it is closer to a 3-star than a 5-star for me. And this could be just a lot of defense on the feet for Zalal. Even though it is the small cage, he is going to be on the bike trying to get away from Sterling, not get taken down in this fight. And I like Zalal to be the better striker, just not land enough strikes.
Yeah, man, it'd be a 3-star for me if it was in the bigger cage. I'd feel a lot better about the fade. Now, because like you mentioned, the ownership or the line tightening for Aljo, I do think inflates his ownership quite a bit. I do think he's probably 44 plus, maybe even gets to like the 50 mark. Again, that's because value's tough on this card, and you're getting a big name who can wrestle, who scored well in the past at 7,800 and 25-minute fight. It all adds up, and like I have nothing bad to say about it. My favorite way to play Sterling is plug in Zalal, go Sterling, leave 600. Zalal is my pick to win, but he was my pick to win by stuffing takedowns, keeping at distance, and outstriking Aljo, and I don't think that scores. So honestly, my preferred play, it was Zalal. Thinking about it more, my preferred play might be Aljo even at chalk, but my preferred thing is general is just fading this fight. And if Zalal does win a decision, a striking-based decision, and doesn't get many takedowns, which I don't think he will, like 10x, 84? 84 is not enough at 8,400 on this card. If it is, like, okay, I'll live. I'll take my dub in the fade, and then somehow I'll be wrong, and it'll be really annoying. But I just don't see that being the case. How often do you think Aljo just pushes the pace like he did against Piotr Jan, and it's just like Zalal's forced to throw 140 significant strikes on the feet, and we get a firefight that way? Do you see that?
No, I think Zalal's too hard to hit. He's just not going to be there for Sterling to throw that many strikes against. So I don't think that'd be the case.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but I always do remember the Aljo Piotr Jan fight, the one that ended in a DQ. I mean, Aljo couldn't get takedowns; he was dead, but he just came out guns blazing and just kept throwing paw on the jab, pushing the pace.
Yeah.
I do wish this was in the bigger octagon.
I don't think Zalal's only been hit like 40 times most ever, I think, in his UFC career. I don't have it pulled up anymore, but I want to say right around 40 is the most he's ever been hit. But now we got 5 rounds to work with. I'd be pretty surprised if Sterling landed more than 100 total strikes in this fight. And I would guess that it's going to be less than 70.
Yeah, I'm in agreement too. Again, the smaller cage is the only thing scaring me a bit, but with definitely monitoring this line, if Aljo closes the favorite or before lock, man, he could be 58% or something like that. And again, I do think he's a good play because I think when Aljo wins, I do think he scores. I think he more than likely is optimal on a card that I think's low scoring. So I honestly actually think he's my preferred play now, but my preferred route is the fight fade. Hoping Zalal wins a striking base decision. Both guys are not optimal, and I do like any Zalal lineup. You can go to Buchecha or Ryan Spann pretty easily there. That's 13 fights. I totally agree in the sense of you said it from the top. Not your most favorite that you're not looking forward to this one most for a real life entertainment, but for DFS, if we keep all 13, I think it's a very interesting and solid card that could end up with pretty low amount of dupes when it's all said and done up top. So that's all I care about when it's all said and done. What are your final thoughts before we get down out of here?
Yeah, I think it should be a low duped winner this weekend, but hopefully it is, man. Hopefully it's you. Hopefully it's me. Hopefully it's somebody listening. But let's make it a good card. Let's ship it, and that'll make this card a fun one.
Yeah, anytime you get some more money in the pocket, that's absolutely fun. Again, if you do want content for all these sports above going on right now, 5 days for $19. Otherwise, we got you covered in the MMA streets. Again, join the nation. Bottom left, you can check out all of our different packages. Appreciate everyone hanging out, watching live, watching on playback. You are the real ones. Yeah, appreciate that. Good luck to you as well, Pure. Hopefully we get some fun fights Saturday. Hopefully we get some Shipping Nation logos to the top. Playoff basketball, playoff hockey, NFL draft, PGA, MLB. It is a great weekend indeed. Good luck to you, Big Marley. Good luck to everyone out there. Be safe. Good luck. Peace.